Hey, here we are, right here at the Lone Star Sports Show, the Lone Star Sports Network. We are winding it down. 2018 has done what it's going to do. A little bit more left. Good little basketball in, a little more playoff wanted some playoff regular season football to get to the playoffs.
Got her fast, man.
Got here fast. It all
really
goes
did.
fast.
But you know what's cool? Now you got Duncanville State Championship game on Saturday. You've got that Christmas Day five game fiesta of NBA basketball on Christmas Day. That's always a lot of fun to watch.
And then we come back to all the holiday basketball.
Thursday we got Duke Texas Tech, which I'm excited about.
Then we come back after Christmas with the Whataburger, In-N-Out Burger. And
Exactly.
the
All the big tournaments, and I'm going to go out to Tyler and watch some Gophers. Real quick, good luck, Baron Brown and the Gophers playing first district game tonight at Cedar Hill. Good luck to you guys. I'm going to come out after the broadcast.
Good deal. Good deal. Two young men. I both like both of those young coaches are good guys for the business.
Yeah, Mike Matthews is a good guy from Cedar Hill too. Yeah, he really is. And so it ought to be interesting because
played
nothing.
at Florida State. Yeah.
Is that right? A big dude. He's about 6'8".
Yeah, probably bigger. Yeah,
maybe 6'9".
Yeah. Today night show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. They're doing great things up there. They have two new products coming out in 2019, and figuring it out. There's got another round of their process going, and they're rocking and rolling at Fast Small Sports. Going to be going up after the man. I got to go to your town at the wrong time.
When do you got to go?
Got to go sometime in January.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm available for travel. I mean, I pay for my own ticket. I'll go. I don't even need a good reason. It'll just make me appreciate getting in that plane and coming back home again.
Yeah, exactly. You'll appreciate it a whole lot.
Oh, man.
You know, that train ride from Midway over that lets me off there. You know it better than I do, but wherever I get off, just about 2 blocks away from Michigan Avenue. And
that's a long 2 blocks in the wrong weather.
Oh man!
And you know what's really scary is you go down to Midway Airport and you see like the parking lot area, right, where they've got salt trucks that you can't even see the end of, salted because it melts the snow, and you got those plow trucks.
Yeah.
And you're going, Jesus, do they get this much snow that they've got $10 million invested in just this airport? And the answer is yeah, they really do. It's crazy.
It's nuts. It is actually is nuts. But things are all over the place. We got some good treat for you in the second half. Talking about, we're going to look at the top 10 things that and I shouldn't say they're the top 10 things. They're the top 10 things according to this show and the things that they called our interest. A lot of things went on in 2018. It was a major number of people that passed away. You know, Aretha Franklin, and there's a long list of people that have been around the process, but that's part of it. And but top 10 things on that were a part of this show. Some of them have been a part of this show for 2 years, 2017 and 2018. But
especially the first one.
But the hottest thing we got going on in Dallas, Texas, them Cowboys.
It's like it must make you guys dizzy. You must get headaches. You must have like stiff necks from the roller coaster ride because they were rolling for a while. Don't get me wrong, but it's so disappointing because
going to the Super Bowl.
It's print them up. Print them tickets up.
Well, I mean,
but it's disappointing because it wasn't just losing the game because like the Bears lost against New York and that was embarrassing. We shouldn't have lost, but that was laid an egg, first shutout in 15 years. That's the problem. It looked really bad.
It's so bad. And like Commissioner Cox is not even coming in tonight, and he had plenty of rant. He'll probably run out of gas by now. He's been storming and
he was storming about 1 o'clock this afternoon when he called me, but he said he's calling in tonight. He told me, yeah.
Yep. No Commissioner Cox. He might pop up.
He might be unavoidably.
Hey,
if I could have 30 seconds to not go hard on a rant when we're talking about Kaepernick, there's something I'd love to share. I read today that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. No, we'll go. We'll do all the things we want to do. But right now, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to say this right here, and I wanted to say this when Commissioner Cox was here, and chimed in. The one thing that you've got to realize. Beginning of the season, it was KC, LA, can't stop them. Not for long, NFL. The defenses catch up.
Well, it's a copycat league, and so what works gets copied, and then what gets adjusted to gets corrected. Then you have to go to the next adjustment, and it's point counterpoint.
It's a cat and mouse type deal.
Forever, right? The best coaches go cat and mouse for 16 weeks,
yeah.
Like Belichick. They're not very good this year, but the game-to-game adjustments are great.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what you have to look at. So, I mean, when you look at Dallas and you say this, that, and the other, but I think one of the biggest things that one of my close buddies, y'all know him, Cowboy Snoop, said was when they made the statement or they made the decision to hold the 2 offensive linemen back, say if it was the playoffs, you guys would play, you send a message to the team. First of all, they can read,
right,
and they see the situation. So you lost a level of edge, a level of importance.
You said the game doesn't matter. I don't care what anyone says, subtly or maybe not so subtly.
Right.
You said this game's not important or we're taking you for granted. And it's really funny. I don't know. Did we ever talk about this? But they said that if Alabama was going to play Buffalo back when Buffalo was a dumpster fire, that the point spread would have been Buffalo minus 28.5. And the reasoning is everyone was shocked by that because everyone says, well, Alabama's got 12 pros. Yeah, well, I got news for you. Buffalo's got 53 pros. They're all pros.
Yeah.
And every single guy in the NFL is good enough to hurt every other guy in the NFL.
Well,
Don't kid yourself.
Look at the speed of the game. I mean, people,
so athletic.
People fail. I mean, we can't even talk about that tonight. Congratulations to your Bears. Y'all clinched.
Yeah, I was kind of happy.
Yeah. No, we want to give y'all all the love for that.
The only thing I regret is I wish we hadn't choked off that Green Bay game because the home field advantage of playing in Chicago is tremendous because you're playing
the
snow.
first Green Bay game.
Yeah, the very first one, right? We kind of gave it away, and then we also choked one at Miami. But everyone's got one or two of those games. You guys had Tennessee, and you guys have Indianapolis, but you always have those games that piss you off.
I think I would remember. I know a couple of people around me. I told them that of the last three games that the Cowboys were sitting there looking at, that was by far going to be their toughest situation. So we're going to come back after the break and take a solid look at what the Cowboys, Buccaneers, and Giants what's left there, and what the Cowboys need to do to keep this thing out of reach. We're right here at the Lone Star Sports Show. We're going to run to a quick break. We'll be back in about 180 seconds with more. Tom Inman, Lady Life, Under the Prince, man of many talents, and yours truly, Alan Branch, back in 180 seconds. Hey, here we are back here at the Lone Star Sports Show. Coming back from break. This particular segment is brought to you by HardhamHotels.com. Go take a look and see how you can put your money where you sleep. Hey, we're right here. We got Commissioner Cox did come in. He was a little under the weather, but he like the mailman. Rain, sleet, or snow, he gonna deliver.
We're here, Coach. We're here.
Ready to go and let it do what it does. Well, sometimes we say how about those Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? And sometimes we just say Cowboys. But can't they give Dallas, part of the mystique that comes with it, part of the brand, the blue star. When it's up, it's up, and when it's down, it's down. and hadn't been shut out like that in a long time. I think probably around about 6-7 years is the last time they pitched a shutout, or received a shutout. Coach, but I think I'd probably go on record as saying I thought of the last 3 games that the Indianapolis Colts and Luck were going to be the toughest one. I didn't see it being a 23-0 situation. I told you that, but I have to agree, and I have to give. I'm good on giving people their credit, even though I don't get my credit all the time. But I like to give credit. It's good karma. Cowboy Snoop made a point when they said that the 2 offensive linemen that they held out, if it was the playoffs, they would be ready to go. They removed the significance in the locker room of that game, whether it's consciously, subconsciously, whatever you want to say.
And it doesn't matter. None of that matters.
You just said, well, it's just a scrimmage, or it doesn't count, or
we're in. We're okay.
We're going to be okay. But that's a drama of the Cowboys.
I wish I could believe that. These guys, that's not true. These guys went out there with every intention of winning this game, and not playing those people or playing those people had nothing to do with being blank.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you do as a coach, even if you wanted to rest your player here or there, you do not want to go out and have no rhythm whatsoever in your offense.
This is the first thing I'm going to say about the offense. Okay, you got a guy like Amari Cooper. Now, he's the number 1 receiver. Nobody will question that. The offensive coordinating or the game planning of the reaction to him being treated like a number 1 receiver didn't in the passing game, they didn't complement the routes to the Lil Beasley kid is a good little player.
But me and Cox talked today earlier on the phone, and I made a comment to him that if I was the DC of Tampa Bay and I was going to take my chances of deciding to play man or zone, I would never play man against Dak anymore because I would want my defenders facing him. Mm-hmm. You could play outside leverage on both press corners. You could have two deep over the top for help. And there's some gaps underneath and stuff. But instead of chasing and turning and chasing, that takes Dak out of play because as a runner now you're looking at him. The second he turns and runs, you bust his ass. I mean, they're going to double up Amari and make Dak beat him somewhere because they're not going to let Zeke beat him. They're just not going to let that happen.
Well, I mean, Zeke is doing his job.
Maybe not these two, but the good teams when they get in the playoffs, those teams won't let that happen.
I mean, they're sitting there with facing the Buccaneers and the Giants for the last 2 games, and if I'm correct, they win one of these 2, they're in the playoffs. Right or wrong, Cox?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So that situation, if they win both of those 2, it does not change.
What's Tampa Bay's last 3 games? Could you put that up?
Tampa Bay's last 3?
Yeah, just to look at what they've done. I haven't.
Oh, the last 3 games that they
what have they done their last 3 games?
Well, we know last week they lost to the Saints.
Yeah, but played them.
Right.
And here's another perfect example where the Saints are some people that people have caught up with them, and that was one of the things that we were talking about before you made it in tonight, Cox. Is the simple fact that guys in this league catch up with you, and you have to adjust, and you have to realize when the good coordinators and the good programs, the good clubs, good staff, good offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators have to realize and anticipate the next adjustment.
Punch, counter punch, counter point, or point, counter point, whatever you want to say.
I think that's my biggest concern. Mm-hmm. My biggest concern is not talent. Mm-hmm. My biggest concern is that we are so happy to put people on the field, and Jerry is so happy to put people on the field to say, this is why I made a decision, or are we all right to win a game? We're not out there dissecting, talking about doing things to win championships. So when you get blanked 23-0 by the coach, mm-hmm. your offense did nothing. And what it does is it gives a blueprint for the next team to come back
and say, how did they accomplish that?
Copycat league.
How did they accomplish
that?
It's
a copycat league.
So I'm going to tell you, the most dangerous team right now is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God we didn't play Nick Foles. Mm-hmm.
Is Nick Foles a better fit than Wentz is for my man?
That team, for some reason.
For that coach. It's the coach. Well, go ahead. Let me hear you.
I think for some reason, Nick Foles and Peter, they just work together. Mm-hmm. It's a flow. There's a consistency. And I know as Snoop was, I'm a Dak destroyer. Mm-hmm. Because I don't see Dak taking us to a Super Bowl. without the right coach and some other things in place.
Okay.
But I just don't see him taking us to the Super Bowl. Do I think he's salvageable? Absolutely. But he's far from being a guy that you can give a franchise like this to at this point in his career. He can't make those throws.
No.
Well, Coach was talking today.
He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that type of presence. I don't want to say he can't do it, but his presence doesn't justify the window of opportunity or the he doesn't know how to seize opportunities. I don't know. It's just something missing there. It seems
Dak has had everything that we didn't give Romo in the first 3 years of being here. And that's the truth, Coach.
I agree with that. I'm not going to argue with that.
He's had everything in the first 3 years.
Romo was more talented than Zach.
But you know what? One of the hustles in this whole deal, though, was that Jerry was ignorant enough to think that Tony Romo was going to play 5 more seasons, and this would have been the second of those 5. Or no, this would have been the third of those 5. And
I think, Coach, he was just more comfortable with knowing what he had and could live with it. But Tony was just banged up. But my point is,
Tony was banged up.
But when Tony left, he got stuck playing a 4th-round draft pick that he saw as a backup and got stuck making him into a starter. And then he dug his heels in, and you guys are stuck with him.
I just can't see. This weekend to me, could be the beginning. We can't assume we should go in and beat Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. But I promise you, if we go to Tampa Bay and slip up.
No, it's here.
Tampa Bay is here.
It's here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to get our ass whooped. We don't want to deal with the Giants at the end of the year needing that to be the victory.
Yeah, if you got to play in 37-degree weather outside against a team that has absolutely nothing to lose, and maybe Eli says, I'm tired of looking like a bird. Well, but they play loose and easy. OBJ always plays loose and easy. Eli probably would love to show people that I'm not a complete has-been, even though I think he is. But on any given Sunday, anybody's pretty good. Who knows?
I mean, the bottom line to it is, Coach, we're going to win one of these 2 games. And then we're going to go into the playoffs, and our playoffs is going to look pretty much like what happened with the Colts.
Okay. If you go into the playoffs, you're going in, and you're going to be playing a Seahawks or a Eagles in the playoffs.
Where will the game be?
Doesn't matter. We don't want to see either one of those teams.
No, you'll have trouble, right? You will, because Russell Wilson's going to give you fits, and so is Foles.
I guess it could. No, actually, it could be the. No. It should break down. No, the Bears will be playing the Vikings, and you're in a situation where all that stuff is still playing out. I'll tell you what.
Why do the Cowboys not get a home game if they're division champs? I don't understand that.
Because the record overall.
Right,
I see.
Right.
That second place, the Kansas City, San Diego being in the same division screws it up, doesn't it?
They get an automatic bid into the playoffs,
but not home.
But when the seeding start coming, you get your 1 and 2 both get buys, and then 3 and 4, 3 plays
the lower seed, 5 plays the higher seed.
3
plays the lower seed, 4 plays the higher seed. Right,
the higher seed. Right. So, in my opinion, you're looking at a Seahawks team. I think an Eagles team is very dangerous. That you could, they could end up being Eagles could end up being a 9-7.
The Eagles could very easily end up as a wild card and mess it up for everybody.
Yeah,
they will end up being that team that nobody wants to see.
Yep. No, there's some potential there. I mean, they have some missing pieces. Their defensive backfield is not all the way where you would want it to be. But I mean,
but nobody's healthy this time of year.
But all that stuff starts to change. I mean, okay, you made these mistakes. Guys get better from week to week, and you're talking about pros. You're talking about guys that have been drafted, guys that have made rosters, and they may be making mistakes, and we may say, hey, they're terrible, they're this, they're that. But in the grand scheme of things, when it's all said and done, these guys still have an opportunity to get better, understand the system, understand where they're supposed to be, understand how they're supposed to play things. Because just because you're a pro,
is the Cardinals going? The Cardinals are not going to be in there, but Seattle will be in there, right?
Yeah, no, not the Cardinals. No, the Cardinals will have absolutely no chance. But
Minnesota. What about Carolina? Are they still in the hunt?
I think last night put them out.
Last night pushed them all the way out.
Yeah.
They got them still in the hunt, but it's a real goofy, weird thing. They only won 6 games. You're gonna.
So who's the other team that's in the hunt then?
Well,
you got the Eagles that make it, right?
No, only 6 teams are going to make it.
4 division champs and 2 wild cards each side, right?
Right. 3 and 4 of the division champs play the 2 wild cards.
So Minnesota and the Eagles,
right now, if it was over with today,
it'd be Dallas Rams, Chicago Saints, Seattle, and Minnesota.
No, yeah, right. That's in it. But the actual games would be that Saints and Rams would have byes. Bears would be playing
Minnesota,
and we'd be playing Seattle.
That's correct.
I really want to play against Minnesota and show them what an idiot they were for signing Kirk Cousins to $100 million. In fact, Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Dak. I mean, no one would probably contest that, and he's not worth the money they just gave him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a guy's worth what somebody's willing to pay him.
Right. Value's relative.
Well, actually, so Minnesota's got to play Detroit, and then they've got to go play Miami.
They could lose both of those, especially if Miami's on the road.
That's why I'm saying the Eagles could easily be right back in the middle of the deal on the wild card.
Wow.
So you're in a situation right now where the Cowboys could be playing the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs.
Hey, how many people in L.A. lost their ass on betting on the Rams against the Eagles Sunday?
Hey, when we come back, I'm going to chop it up with Cox and Tom Emlen, Commissioner Cox and Tom Emlen, on the fact of now all of that high-powered offense stuff is starting to shrink, coming right back to the field. You're right here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. This particular segment was brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. You got Commissioner Cox in on the line, Tom Emlen, Lady Life, Under the Prince, and yours truly, Alan Branch. We're going to come back and take a look at does defense travel and why is this true? Right back at 180 seconds. No, just like Commissioner Cox was saying there back on the Lone Star Sports Show, the NFC has been a dogfight. AFC is has been more of a wide open thing, but hasn't that always, for whatever reason, been the nature of the existence all the way back to the American Football League coming into the situation? I always look at the NFC, AFC, and then you look at how the ABA merged into the NBA. There was always the brands never lost themselves, and we applied to football the old gritty NFL that it actually was, and the AFL being a little bit more of a wide open type, operation. And now you have the AFC. I mean, when you look at it, how many gritty teams are there in the AFC? Steelers, Patriots dancing around doing what they're doing. Texans are really good.
They could be a little gritty, but their defense is down a little bit. But I have a feeling that you could take a Dallas if they got hot and could score enough points, or a Chicago, and the way the defense constricts offense, and you could be really successful down the stretch.
Yeah.
Because pressure on the quarterback is everything. Because if you get pressure on the quarterback,
they're more beat up. There are more beat up contributing players in the NFC right now, I think, than in the AFC. I'll go out on a limb and say that.
I think the AFC on the stretch right now is more healthier.
Yeah, right.
I think you're right. I mean, you look at Kansas City, even though they just lost a big piece, but they're still a lot more healthier than. I mean, the Saints just went through what they're going through. The Cowboys, their line are off and on. I mean, we just got some injury.
Yep.
I mean, we got a lot of injury.
I mean, look at the Redskins down to their third or fourth string quarterback. Who knows?
The Redskins, which is a team again, which is another team that's sitting there that the Cowboys need to continue to win.
Yeah.
That's another team that we just need to continue to win. But I think Dallas has the talent to screw up the entire NFC playoff.
Yeah,
the talent is there. This is the year for the Cowboys to get in, because the Redskins are going to regroup, the Eagles are going to come back, and the Giants are going to get fixed next year. So this is our year right now to sort of get in. We got a weak Atlanta right now in the NFC. We don't know what the Panthers are going through. Green Bay's down. This is our opportunity this year to get in here and try to make some noise.
Well, they got as good opportunity as they're probably going to have within the next 2 to 3 years. I definitely agree with you on that, Cox. You look at the situation right now, and you want to map it out and say, okay, what's possible? What could the Cowboys do? Could the Cowboys step up? The Cowboys' toughest game, I feel like, matchup-wise, in the playoffs, is playing the Seattle Seahawks in the first round of the playoffs. After that, I think they come back to a situation. I mean, Rams, Saints, you don't have a problem playing either one of those guys.
Seattle's a really tough place to play. Wow, is that a tough play? That and probably New Orleans might be the two best home field advantages in the NFL.
Oh, and we're not sure that that's a home field advantage. That'll have to play out all the way to the end.
Yeah,
right.
I think Seattle becomes a problem because you got a quarterback that can move.
Yep.
We have a problem when we play quarterbacks who can
move.
Mobile quarterbacks. Right. New Orleans creates a problem only for us because if they start to move Breeze out of the pocket and hit these many different people that he has, then, our defense was very much exposed. New Orleans has way more talent than Indianapolis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just watched that happen. Now, the Rams right now, I think the Rams are on the rope. The Rams are on the ropes right now.
Pretenders.
Right now, they
Pretenders.
are.
They're fugazis.
Pretenders.
Yep.
West Coast shows up. I don't know what it is, kind of like I was talking about earlier.
The weather's too nice. They're soft.
Yeah, it's lifestyle. There's just something about that West Coast thing, man. It just always shows up. That soft always shows up.
I've known college coaches. I'm sure you know a lot more of them who will not recruit a kid from Cali. No. Just won't even talk to a Cali kid.
Coach, the most dangerous teams in the NFC are the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Saints.
I can agree with that.
I'm telling you right now, those three teams can get you.
Yep.
They're young enough. They're exciting. So almost about the Legion of Doom is gone in Seattle. They've taken those young DBs, and Seattle has found a way to put it together.
Yep.
Seattle has found a way to really put it together right now. Look at our defense.
But I think when you look across the whole deal, NFC, AFC, it goes back to what I just feel that sports are right now. We want, as sports fans and sports so-called analytical, guys that think we know what we're talking about, the deal you can't get around from, nobody's really that much better than anybody else.
No, the difference between the first and 53rd player is not very much on a pro football team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's can you get their scheme taught? Can you get them in a rhythm? Can you bring some chemistry together and get them to do what you want them to do? And hopefully, then at that point, now are you in a situation where you want them, what you want them to do, is that good enough going to out-prepare what you prepared your guys to do?
It depends. It's point counterpoint. Forever and ever. It's like a chess game.
Yeah, no, it's only. I mean, and that's where the whole "not for long" thing comes from. The acronym NFL, National Football League, and being often jokingly called "not for long." A lot of people always said because of the injuries. I just don't think that you can continuously win the same way over and over and over again.
Those coordinators are too good. The defensive coordinators in the NFL have one job: to F you up next time you come on the field.
I mean, we say, okay, New England Patriots are in the situation that they're in. A lot of people saying they're in that situation not because Tom Brady's not this and not because Belichick is not this. It's just their players have gotten older and slower.
Their defense is down more than anything. They're just giving up too many points, and their offensive line's probably off a little.
Yeah, and look at Gronk. I mean, Gronk is running around on one leg.
But that's almost without trying to turn this back into anything bashing the Cowboys. But one thing they got to be careful of when they make the Dak decision is if they make the wrong decision with that, they're going to age out that offensive line and Zeke. They've got to make a good decision to time out the whole issue because if they're not careful, everyone's going to be 30.
Coach, you just hit my whole point. This is Dak. We're year 3.
This is it right here.
We're in year 3. At 5 years, we start talking about replacing everybody.
Yeah.
So we're in year 3 with Dak. So, and this group, this line is at year 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not careful, they're at 8, 9, and 10, and then the injuries start adding up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the injuries are already starting now. We got to calculate out right now.
How many games? How many lost games on the offensive line this year? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I bet say easily when you just cumulative.
Of the 5 guys, you probably had 20 lost games.
That might be a little high, but I would say 10 to 12 easy. Yeah, well, probably more than that. No, you're closer to 20 when you calculate it all together. I mean, you got
one or two guys out almost every game would come out to about 20.
But
20 games
but
lost.
A lot of our offensive line issues is just what we choose to do with what we built with. You can't build. We built a running offensive line, and we have chosen to go out and become a passing team all the time.
And they're road grading offensive linemen, but they're not very good set up pass blockers. They're not very good.
Exactly. RPOs is how we created this thing, and that's not,
But you're looking at Zeke and you're thinking, are we going to turn into this deal? And I mean, the Cowboys are solid. Well, let me tell you what the Cowboys do have perfected. They lead the league in time of possession. Now, there's only one way you can do that. You got to get first downs.
Right.
So they are able to move the stick. So something is going on here.
But they're a great 30-30 team. Dak's not bad 30-yard line to 30-yard line. He's just terrible inside the 20 because the game compresses down. All the windows get smaller. All the windows get smaller.
Yes.
Everything gets smaller. Everything gets tighter. And your inaccuracy gets amplified.
Coach, that's what you got to coach.
Right.
And those are the things that.
But you can't coach inaccuracy. You can't coach inaccuracy. Amari don't fix that.
Well, I don't.
No, Amari don't fix it. Amari Cooper finally had an opportunity this week to feel like a number 1 receiver.
Yeah,
and he got treated like it, right? He got pounded.
He got treated like a number 1 receiver.
But at the same
in 4 weeks, we'll be talking about Amari can't get open.
But then someone else has got to because that's the whole point. The dominoes have to fall off the first double team because you can't double one guy without leaving somebody open.
You have to make people pay for deciding to give somebody special attention.
And if you hit that tight end who nobody knows even knows his name, or you hit Cole Beasley a few times, then they have to adjust and they come off the double just a little bit. But in the meantime, somebody else has got to step up because if you think you're going to do it the whole year with Amari, you're nuts.
Cox, I know you're probably better with personnel. Why is it that the really good offensive lineman we have, middle linebacker we have, what's his name?
Jalen Smith.
No, the one that's been being hurt, just came back.
Oh, Sean Lee.
Sean Lee. Why is it that Sean Lee is such a disruption to the success of that defense whenever he comes back and gets stuck into the situation? Is it psychological? Is it something real?
I think it's film study.
Go ahead.
You mean why does he contribute so in a positive way?
Well, I mean, it's a positive way. We know he's talented, but it seems like the defense is not in the same rhythm that they're in when he's
Van Der
out.
Esch?
Right.
When Van Der Esch. Well, first of all, Sean Lee works hard. He plays hard. He's an undersized guy, but he's just like his coach. He's got to be the smartest guy in the room. So what happens is when he's on the field, everything is so much about, okay, I think, just be here because I think, or second guessing. He's trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Van Der Esch and Smith are out there playing football.
Just running
they're
and following the
remembering
football.
things.
Right.
They're being athletes. They're looking at things. They're working with their instinct. Sean Lee does not possess the athleticism that either one of those two do.
Okay.
So therefore, everything with him has always got to be that I'm smarter or I'm ahead of the game. I can see this. I know this. It's always got to be the smartest guy in the room. But the smartest guy in the fucking room doesn't always win.
Yep.
Right, because at some point in time, you got to win the foot race.
So Smith and Van Der Esch are sitting there saying, man, we're playing lights out with intuition.
Yep.
Our instinct is high. We're physically, we bringing it, and they're ready to play. You go put Sean Lee back in the game, and now all of a sudden he's got to be the smartest guy on the field, and everybody's got to go, and whatever they're thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
now it turns into from reaction to
paralysis by analysis is what you're saying.
Exactly. So I just think when they put him back in this weekend, I think it really went from them being loose to all of a sudden, here comes the teacher.
Yeah.
The teacher's back on the field. But I think I think this weekend you'll see a little less of Sean Lee. I think you see a little less of Sean Lee.
Hey, here we are at the Lone Star Sports Show. We're breaking out. You got Commissioner Cox, sometimes known as Controversial Cox. Tonight we seem to be all on the same page. Tom Inman, Lady Life, and the Prince, Honor Your Money, and yours truly, Alan Branch. We're going to come back and break it down.
We need more arguments.
You need any more arguments?
Tom, come on, man.
I'm always ready to fight. I'm Irish.
We doing it like it does right here on the Lone Star Sports Show. All things sports, all things Texas. We got plenty on for us tonight. 10 greatest things that happened in sports according to the Lone Star Sports Show and how it affected what we talked about and what we did over the past 2018 year. We're going to come back and lock our predictions in of what we're seeing, the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to go ahead and show some love towards those Texans down there. And how's that situation? How's that look? Right here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. Back in 180 seconds with more of it like it does it. The segment was brought to you by Fast Mall Sports. Very, 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 very interesting conversation. All things sports, all things Texas, right there at the break. Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott, not apples to apples, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a Kia and a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to go that much, but
all right, that's a Mercedes Benz and a Ford.
Yeah, Dak, I'm not upset for you taking my table at the steakhouse the other night. I'm not gonna say that about you,
Coach. But I mean, when we say that, what my point is this: as a Cowboy fan, every time we talk about Dak, we're always talking about, but this didn't happen for him. But this didn't happen for him. But this didn't happen for him. Here's Deshaun Watson, who comes into the league, gets hurt.
Yeah, no, ACL.
He doesn't get a starting job.
Sir,
he turns his ACL. His offensive line is
decent,
but nowhere close to what he
nothing
doesn't
close to the
have.
Cowboys, right?
He doesn't have an Ezekiel Elliott or a defense like this, and his team, coach's team, is sitting up for 10-4.
Bill O'Brien's a lot better coach than Jason Garrett.
No, I don't agree with. Well,
I'm not 100%.
Sold on O'Brien.
But see this,
Brian
but
brain
Coach,
dead
you
too.
know that's not
Because
because it don't take much better to be better than Jason. The Clown.
Yeah, right.
But when was the last time Jason Garrett won 8 or 9 in a row?
But now we also have to say that he's over in the AFC in the soft league too, huh?
Yeah, I can see that.
How many NFC teams have the Texans beaten this year? And nobody of any magnitude other than the Cowboys in overtime.
They lost.
Well,
to the
they
Giants.
haven't played many.
Yeah, the Giants.
They lost to the
Giants beat them, right? So I mean, when you go down and look at that thing, you know they played the Rams down to the wire. I mean, they're a good team.
They lost to the Patriots. They lost to Tennessee, and they lost to the Giants, and then they lost to Indianapolis. Coach.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach, that's not a bad group of people to lose from.
But if you were going to put your money in a 2-minute drill with Dak or Deshaun Watson, no one who has got more big game experience, it's a no-brainer. You don't even need to ask the question.
But you got to realize, Deshaun Watson comes in. He won a national championship.
Right.
He took.
That's my point.
St.
Big
Nick
game
down.
experience. Nothing's going to phase him now. He's been through that.
No, I mean, we know that college football is not the NFL, but the moment.
The moment is as big as anything in the NFL.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that moment playing for the national championship.
Some of those games, Coach, are bigger than NFL games.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
that national championship game, Coach, is pretty big.
Yeah, if a guy doesn't melt down in the final quarter or in the final couple of minutes of a national championship football game, he's pretty mentally tough.
Playing against Nick Saban with
and he's not out there playing against guys who are never going to go to the pro.
No, he's playing against
a third of that damn team is going to meet him in the NFL.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. So he beat when he beat Alabama for the national championship. He beat, just like y'all said, a third of the team, loaded with NFL prospects.
Yeah.
Backups at Alabama get drafted.
Yeah.
You better draft them.
Yeah. I mean, when you're looking for certain things, it's just like.
But I think the Texans are definitely another team that in their division that could be very, very scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
in their conference. I mean, they could be.
DeAndre
scary.
Hopkins sure is tough to guard, man.
Oh my Lord!
I mean, he just creates so many problems he makes the fact that all those things that you mentioned that Houston has that aren't quite up to Dallas' speed, and I agree with you on all counts, that he makes up for so much of that, though, just because he's so special. I'm not trying to say Amari Cooper's not special, but he ain't DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, they're different. They're different. You got a bigger, more.
That's what I'm talking about. He just you force a lot more help. DeAndre Hopkins forces a lot more
even with
special
the help.
consideration.
In other words, you can double Cooper and almost take him out of it. You know. This dude is physical enough that he can bump one and step in front of the other one.
Well, it's kind of like when Gronkowski's healthy. When Gronk's healthy, truly healthy, he's strong enough to go through a double team. I watched him do it several times.
That's exactly
live.
my point.
He just goes right through it and says, "I don't give a damn. You ain't strong enough."
So when we
Hopkins can't do that.
We sit here and we break down and just really look at the Texans here with 2 more games. Texans and Eagles is a big game, 12 noon Sunday, real big game.
Where's that game at? Where's it being played?
They're playing Texans and the Eagles
at Philly.
Oh, then Philly's favored, in my opinion.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a tough game.
Yeah.
That is a very, very, very interesting game right now.
Especially could be a weather issue too, because Texans play.
Noon Sunday. A lot of important things are happening.
A lot of important things are happening on noon Sunday. How about that?
Don't you love peeling this onion called the 14th, 15th, and 16th week of the season?
The Cowboy-Tampa Bay game. You got to remember the Cowboys, Tampa Bay, and that Philadelphia game are all at noon, and they're all relevant games.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about the Texans are getting ready to run into some. If they're not motivated when they get to Houston, or not motivated in bringing in the Eagles, aren't motivated bringing the Texans in to their house, knowing
coming off that big win, that place will be psychotic on Sunday.
Yeah.
That place will be insane. Hell, Philadelphia's insane on a Tuesday afternoon.
I mean, I'll go ahead and go out on a limb. I'm impressed if the Texans go up there and beat them dudes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things working against them. Weather, the crowd, Nick Foles, that little magic, that the whole. I don't even know why
the Eagles are not the same team with Nick Foles at the helm.
Better or worse? Are you saying better?
Better.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying
what
better.
I'm thinking.
I'm saying better, too.
I think he
Yeah.
plays loose, and I do think he's a better match. For some
For
reason,
some reason
I
or
think
other,
he and Peterson match up better than Peterson and Wentz.
I don't know if it's a personality, philosophy, they interpret, they communicate better, or whatever.
Peterson was a backup quarterback. Maybe he doesn't relate to the first round guy with all the talent. I don't know. No, seriously. Peterson spent his whole career with a hat on backwards.
I think Carson Wentz has concentrated. So I wasn't sure if he's 100% healthy, first of all. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, he came back trying to be a gunslinger. And I know in his head, he can act like it's not. In his head, they wasted a half of this season trying to make him comfortable that this is his team.
They catered to him a lot. Did you hear Sean McVay's comment after the game when he took responsibility? Steve Young was on part of the interruption. I love Steve Young because he's a real straight shooter. Mm-hmm. And he said they said that he took that as coddling. He said, this is time for Jared Goff. If Jared Goff is what you say he is and everyone thinks he is, it's time for him to take responsibility, not for you to baby him. Mm-hmm. Because and you've also talked about how McVay kind of overcoaches him and he's in his ear right to the second that the league turns off his mic and the whole thing. And there's a point in time you got to let players play, man.
Yeah, and I think Sean McVay is struggling with that because he's
young.
Such a micro. He's so young. He's such a micromanager. He does not. Now, the good thing for him is that he has Wade Phillips, so he really is totally not worried about the defensive side of the ball at all.
Yep. No.
Who's his offensive coordinator?
He's his own offensive coordinator.
He's his own.
Where's Norv Turner at?
He probably has one. He has a helper.
Norv Turner's in.
Where's Norv? I was thinking Norv was in L.A., but it is Wade Phillips.
He's in Carolina.
There you go. He's working with what's his name? Cam. No,
which is one of the reasons why Cam is having problems. Because Norv Turner is going to put you in a position as a quarterback
to make decisions,
to have to make decisions and make real throws. Because that's what he sees as being open.
He had Troy Aikman, coach.
Well, think how many quarterbacks he's had over all the years he's coached. The guys they can't even name that are better than what he had to deal with this year in Cam Newton.
Listen, there's two coaches that can come and help Dak right now. Two.
Norv Turner's one.
Norv Turner's one. Lane Kiffin's the other.
Yeah, I agree with. I like Kiffin idea just because he might just come in and tell everyone to F themselves. I ain't listening to diddly shit you got to say. I'm doing what I want.
Right.
The only reason why Lane Kiffin can't come is his ego is bigger than life itself. And Jason Garrett is intentional. I think I said this in the text. Jason Garrett has intentionally not given Dak Prescott what he needed from a coaching perspective because he knows that person could be his replacement.
Right, exactly. If anyone gets too close to Dak and they have a bad couple-week stretch,
he's very happy with this kid Moore. Moore is a zero threat.
Yeah, zero threat. Zero threat
to anybody. He's clueless.
-1, -2 threat.
But Norv Turner's a hell of an interim coach. Why they wait around to decide what they're going to do if you decided to make a move?
Norv Turner would have Dak would either be or be out of here.
Yeah, because those are guys that get right down. They're not experimenting. That's what you got.
Well, and if Norv Turner came in, one of the things I guarantee he'd say at the job interview would be, look, I can't do what I want to do with this team if you think that guy pointing to Dak Prescott is as good
Jerry's
as you say he is.
Jerry's not going to hire Norv, though. Jerry will never hire Norv.
He's too independent.
He's a Jimmy guy, and Jerry's not going to hire anybody.
Yeah, you're right.
That's too much like getting Jimmy back.
Well, the fact that Jimmy's not in the Ring of Honor just takes petty and trivial to the steroid level. It's ridiculous.
Only reason why Jimmy's not in the Ring of Honor is Jerry hadn't been able to go win without Jimmy.
Right. And he doesn't want to admit it, right?
Right.
Yeah, the second he wins a Super Bowl, again, Jimmy will be the first one to invite in.
Everybody can be in it.
Oh, yeah,
everybody can be in. No, you're right about that. We got to give Cox, I'm giving you get a point for that. No doubt. No doubt about it.
The only thing more fun than Jerry drunk on alcohol is Jerry drunk on success. So.
Yeah. But
I think we got a chance. I'm excited. I'm glad you mentioned the Texans. We forget about the Texans and how good and how much success that they're having down there. But those guys are really playing hard.
Yeah, no, they are, and they're. I think it's very realistic. I would not be surprised. I even go so far as to predict that the Texans will be playing an AFC Championship game, and you have a situation. You could have Texans and Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
I like the Chargers.
The only thing that's in the way right there are the Steelers. I just don't think the Chargers can just come back and just really – I mean, I think they're a really good team, but I don't know if they duplicate that over and over again. So I come back over to the NFC. I like the Cowboys if the Cowboys can get around their first round. Their first round game is their toughest game.
They can't beat the Bears.
No, the situation. But let me back up.
No, the Dallas Cowboys' biggest issue in the playoffs is the first round.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying.
If we get past the first round,
we get past the first round,
open.
it get tricky then. I mean, we
get wide open.
boy, we get real. We pull out all the Cowboy paraphernalia then. We get a whole bunch of texts and phone calls.
No, what we really need to do is we need to all fly to Chicago and watch them play each other in the cold. That's what we need to, with our shirts off, with a big-ass C in the middle of my chest and a big-ass D in the middle of your chest. Grow a set, and let's go hang out in Lake Michigan, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Screw, we're all old anyway.
The Cowboys' biggest issue is the first round.
Yeah. Now, it's their biggest issue right now,
It's the biggest issue.
No, their biggest issue is Sunday against
that's why
Tampa Bay.
I'm more concerned about us getting ready. I want us to come out here Sunday against Tampa Bay and start putting this thing back together, treating every game like a playoff game.
Yeah,
it is.
And you got a chance, and it is to a certain extent. There's going to be any playoffs. Well, before we get ready to go to break, we've broken it down and given you our NFL takes all the way across the deal. Hey, once again, all things sports, all things Texas. We're sitting here. Dallas Cowboys and the Texans are both sitting here in the middle of the contest of who's going to be the champ, and that's a good thing. No other state can really say what we're saying there. Now we break this thing down. We come back. We're finna spend the last of our segments, closing down our last show for the year. Going to have an announcement that I'm going to be making in reference to the show that actually Commissioner Cox may be hearing it for the first time, and I think he'll be okay with it. We still are friends, and boy, we'll go to the house. Hope he'll keep cook chili and keep that good adult beverage that he has over there. I'll get a chance to get back over and visit. But when we come back, we're going to turn around and look at our top 10 sports topics, sports things that have happened over the year. The Colin Kaepernick saga has continued. Philly won the Super Bowl. Will Dez Bryant play again? Alabama quarterback switch. FBI versus NCAA. Commission of College Basketball. NCAA bracket busters. Warriors repeat. J.R. Smith versus J.R. Smith. Yeah, I won't repeat what the notes say in the margin now. And then we got LeBron going to L.A., which L.A. Snoop predicted for a long time, Lakers Snoop or whatever they call him, predicted for a long time that would be happening in there. And the Boston Red Sox beat our Houston Astros in a situation of trying to get to the World Series. So shout out to Boston. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. We're going to break all that down and give some feedback and thoughts on those top 10 when we come back through the rest of the show. Hey, that's plenty of NFL football right there. You got it all looked at. We think the Cowboys and Texans are exactly where they need to be. We're back for another segment of the Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. We just want to give a shout-out to Coach Sampson and Coach Beard there at Texas Tech, the only two undefeated teams in the country, both housed right here in the state of Texas.
Speaking of shout-outs, got to make sure we give one to Reggie Samples.
Yeah.
Football coach from Duncanville's got a chance to win a state championship. So.
Yep. Be his first one, too.
That'd be big.
Yeah, he deserves it. You know, he's been in there. He did a great job over at Skyline, and he comes to, and this shows that, you know, you can do a lot. You give a man what he needs to work with. That's right. Yeah, you know, he can get it done. You know, and I like Coach Samples. We had Coach Samples on the show a couple of times back in the old days. First got over there, real one of my kind of guys. Yeah, I bet you my boy Casey Barksdale, who used to be on the show with us, he may be going down to go out and watch. If he finds out about that, he'll want to go watch Coach Samples play. But look at all those things. Colin Kaepernick's saga continues. Does that surprise anybody in here in the studio? Does it?
No.
Surprise? You know, the strangest thing, Cox, is that when I first said that, Snoop Johnson argued me down that I was making more out of it, and it was never going to be that, and it wasn't what it was, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I said, no, I see a black ball in a major way coming. We were sitting over in the little studio over in South Dallas, across from Madison High School, with I'm gonna say the Elite News, with Dallas News during that time, and you know, it was just crazy. You know, I mean, I could see it. It was obvious. How many times do you see the political alignment? It was affecting too many political figures, had too much to say about it. You brought the corporate in. Put it this way right here. What other three things, there are some other things, but what other major things have any more input into our society other than politics, corporate America, and sports?
Well, you know what sucks for Colin Kaepernick? If anybody but that fat
entertainment.
If anybody besides that overweight orange orangutan was our president because he got bumped out of the NFL and he still has a chip on his shoulder about it, they wouldn't have made that big a deal out of it. He had the bad fortune of having an asshole like Trump be the president and use him as a little political pawn. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to take 30 seconds and rant about this. I read today that Eric Reed just got ordered yesterday to give his sixth they have to do one mandatory drug test when you first come in. And then what they do is every game there are 10 people from both teams.
That is correct, Coach. You are correct, Coach.
He's taken 6 tests in 11 weeks. They said that the likelihood of the statistical probabilities of having that happen is the same as predicting 9 coin flips in a row. Try that one. Try to see how many times you can call 9 coin flips in a row. And it's absolutely ridiculous. It's random my ass. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to find a reason to run him off because, and they'll say, see, I always knew he was one of them dopers because that's how those liberals are. And here we go, and this shit just pisses me off. So anyway, I'm done.
That was a good rant. That was a great rant. Yeah, that might be your rant for the year right there.
I'm just
real substance
on the last show.
It pisses me off. It pisses me off because Eric Reed's a good dude, man. Eric Reed didn't do nothing wrong besides sit next to Colin Kaepernick
and stood up for what he believed in.
And obviously, Eric Reed's a better player than Kaepernick. Now that must be obvious because if they would let one guy cross that line, I still think part of it. I don't think Kaepernick's a great quarterback. I think he's getting blackballed. But if he was good enough, if he was
okay,
good enough,
I got the moment of the deal. Would we be better off with Kaepernick or Dak Prescott?
Kaepernick.
Okay, well, it take long to pop that out. What you got? You got it,
Dak.
Oh, look at we got a Dak.
Oh, you homer! Penalty flag on Honey. The Prince is down on that one.
He was already lost. He was already down 3-1.
He's just being a contrarian, dude.
He just want to be different.
Yep.
This is the deal. Cap did something that the NFL was not prepared for.
Yeah.
He brought attention to something that everyone who just wants to come and do entertainment and not talk about it.
Right. He pulled the covers off of it.
Kaepernick did and talked about the things that Cowboy fans are mad about because our owner was right in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. The owner of the Texans were right in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. He forced you to look at your entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
And the people that's in charge of your entertainment a different way.
Through a political prism, right.
So all of a sudden, yeah, you can be a Cowboy fan. You can be a Cowboy fan. But you had to look and say, but you know what? I'm supporting a guy who really is discriminating against Colin Kaepernick. Jerry Jones fundamentally has threatened his players that if you stand up for injustice, I'm going to fire you. So as you buy your Cowboy paraphernalia, as you become a Houston Texan, you have to look at these people differently.
Wait, hold on. Do you really think Jerry would fire Zeke if Zeke took a knee?
He doesn't have to because he's got weak. Zeke's not going to do that. Zeke's not cut like that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, just.
But I do think that last year's locker room was an absolute mess because of it.
Because of what?
Because of the taking the knee, the controversy, the anthem controversy.
I can almost guarantee you that the locker room was divided major.
Yeah.
No,
how can you not have a divided locker room? In a basketball team with 10 or 12 people, you have divisions. In a football team with 50 people and 12 coaches, you're going to have divisions.
Yeah. No, you got more to divide.
More moving parts, right.
Philly wins the Super Bowl. Had a great run. I think the most fascinating thing about Philly winning a Super Bowl, in my opinion, was the fact that they did it with their backup quarterback.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was the most impressive thing about that. They're a good team. Obviously, here they are, right back in the middle of it. A lot of people say, "Well, did they have a Super Bowl hangover?" Cox, are you calling the Eagles going through a Super Bowl hangover right now? Because
Philly's is going through some injuries.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it was a hangover.
No.
Hey, you know what I'd like to know? I would like to know if Nick Foles somehow took these guys to the Super Bowl again, or heaven forbid they won it again. Let's just paint a scenario where they win the second Super Bowl in a row. Does Wentz come back as a starter again next year? Is that how locked in they are in the NFL to guaranteed money? Guaranteed money dictates who the starter is? Because that's 2 years in a row Nick Foles outplayed your starter. Get rid of his ass.
Wentz doesn't have that contract yet. Him and Dak are the same year.
Mm-hmm. Well, then if I'm them, I don't understand this. I'm kind of confused. I'm a little confused because I think they're giving too much to Wentz, like you've always mentioned that they give too much to Dak. They gave the keys to the Cadillac too quick.
They're winning. This deal with the Eagles is a blessing.
Yeah.
You get
absolutely. It's an easy out for Peterman.
Opportunity to play Foles $4 or $5 million when everybody else has to pay their starter $15 to $25 million.
And you don't have to piss anyone off.
You're paying Wentz maybe $1.5 million.
And you don't have to piss anyone off. You don't have to piss anyone off. Because once now all Foles has got to do is do his magic again. And he's got something really cool, kind of chill about him that I really like. He doesn't get worked up about shit. He just
not much.
Real flatline. I love it, man.
It's a big thing for the country. The Eagles won their first Super Bowl as a franchise.
No, it was right there. In a
maybe this time these
city.
idiots won't climb up and climb up on the light poles like they did last time. They have to grease the light poles in Philly, and they still climb up there. The idiots.
Will Dez play again?
I don't know. I know he wants to play, but I just don't know. I know he wants to play for the New Orleans Saints, and I know the New Orleans Saints want him to play for them. That's what I do know.
So the physicality of will it happen again is where the.
I wish it well, and I feel terrible for what happened, but I think it's going to be hard.
It's all up in the air, Coach.
It's going to be hard. That's a tough rehab.
Well, I think
a 31-year-old guy rehabbing a torn Achilles, that's really hard.
Yeah, to play at that level.
Yeah, because you're going to give something up. You're not going to come back the way you left.
Well, you already talking about. I thought the thing that killed Dez's career. I shouldn't say killed it, but modified it or hurt his career was the toe injury. The toe injury, they don't really have all the solutions to it. It's a hard thing. Back in the day, it was a knee injury.
You can't accelerate if you can't push off your big toe.
Right. And so all those toes are a lot more important.
Well, they all matter, but the big one especially. It's the last one that touches. It's the one you drive off of.
But the toe is kind of like one of those deals. You just don't miss it until it's gone.
It's like a paper cut. Yeah. I've heard about a paper cut keeping a professional golfer off a golf course. Everyone laughs. Come on.
You take it for granted, but I think he's probably in the best situation he's probably ever been in for as just being in a place without any stress.
Mentally,
so all he has to do is just, if he's able to play, he has a place to play and a place that wants him. And I think that was one of the mental things that he had in Dallas. Yep. It was just.
And that's not good for a kid like him. Lufkin kid, growing up, where everybody always supported him.
To be at that level, you're going to have an ego. Mm-hmm. To be at that level, people have always desired you. But
growing up, being an old East Texas guy, he's not the kind of guy that does well with in his background where he comes from when dealing with people like. He's always been around when everybody liked him, and everybody supported him. Everybody thought well of him.
Yeah, but one thing you've got to do as you get older as an athlete.
Most professional athletes do.
Yeah.
But you got to surround yourself with someone who tells you the truth, not just people who want you to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And I don't know for sure what Dez does with his personal life. I'm not implying that I do know that, but there's so many hangers on with all these people, and at the end of the day, you need someone to tell you the truth. And the truth
I don't think he had the right people in. Go ahead.
Do you think Dez stayed in Dallas too long?
Yes.
Yes.
What did he say?
They think Dez stayed in Dallas too long.
What could he have done to get ahead of it?
Should have requested a trade.
No, the thing about it is, I don't think he ever thought he was going to leave Dallas.
No, he always thought he was going to retire out on his terms, but what he didn't realize was behind his back, Jerry thinks he's an ass. Let's be honest, he must.
If Romo's the quarterback, Dez is still in Dallas.
Could be some truth to that.
Probably.
And I know Cox is talking insider talk now. So
if Romo is here, we're still Dez is still in Dallas. You don't leave America's team. When you're getting paid max money, no one's gonna pay him the money that he made here.
Well,
you just don't leave. If it doesn't work, then you do.
I tell you like I used to tell people about. I went to the University of Texas. There's not a better place in the world when things are going right. There's not a worse person in the world when things are going wrong. Dallas Cowboys and the University of Texas.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just feast of family.
New York Giants, and the Knicks.
Yeah, it's just that kind of a deal. Alabama quarterback switch. How much do they fall off? We can't go with that right now. Hey,
0.
We come back with going down the list. We're going to turn back around and go into the basketball. We're going to come back and examine the Alabama deal. We're going to talk about this whole FBI thing and what all that's led to. We've got a few more deals to go down through. We've got 3 more segments of the Lone Star Sports Show, the closing show for 2018. Right here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. This particular segment was brought to you by HardemMotels.com. Tom Inman, Controversial Cox, Lady Life, Under Your Money, and yours truly, Alan Branch. Right back in 180 seconds. situation.
Barnes playing so well.
Well, that was short down there or something. That might not even been our fault. Hey, we back here at the Lone Star Sports Show, going past the top of the hour. My man always say, doing it like it does. There at the break, we were talking there, and Cox, Cox might get 2 or 3 points a night. I mean, how many people would give credit to Nick Saban, as much of a coach as we want to say he is and say he's this and say he's that? How many people would give credit to the fact that his ability to make the decision, then manage those two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Tua, through this process and keep both of them there through all of this right here, and now be in a situation where the kid didn't leave?
Well, I know one thing as a former coach. I promise you this. The only way it happened was by being brutally honest and never bullshitting either one of them. Because if you bullshitted either one of those kids, it would come out because you'd get caught. You have to shoot straight with them. You have to. However he did it, I'd be fascinated.
Okay, Cox, you identified the fact that it was a hell of a coaching job. I thought that was a very interesting way of putting it, but I do agree with it. You know, we all the time we look at coaching.
It's much bigger than salesmanship, and I think he had to convince these young men that it was about team, and he had to convince them also they could get what they were ultimately trying to accomplish out of football at the University of Alabama still. That him staying there, him being in this role is not going to prevent him from playing at the next level.
I'm going to throw something out there really, 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 really interesting. And it's just my gut. I hope I don't offend anybody about how good they may think a kid is, anybody on this show and anybody listening, because it's only an opinion. I would be willing to say here that Nick sits down with the father, sits down with the kid. Father's a high school football coach. Sits down with the kid and says, Jalen Hurts, they're brutally honest. You're probably not an NFL quarterback. 9 times out of 10, you're not an NFL quarterback. But you stay here and be loyal to me, and I'll show you how to get to the top of this business as a coach.
Oh, Jalen Hurts will be an OC or DC. In fact, you know what he's a lot like? I predicted. You remember when Phil Simms, or remember when Major Applewhite got hosed over by Mac Brown? There was a quarterback controversy down in Texas. And I told someone, I said, if he plays his cards right, he'll be a coordinator within 3 years, and he was. By just being a good soldier and taking what was obviously probably wrong. No, Jalen Hurts can, and I promised that they've talked about that.
Yeah, well,
he'll be making $1 million a year in 3 years, never playing football.
I think Jalen Hurts may even have an opportunity with some of the sorry-ass backups in the NFL. Jalen Hurts,
never know, right?
He could have an opportunity in the league. But also, what's wrong with being Riley Dodge? You know, what's wrong with being Riley Dodge?
Yeah, what's really Clay, this thing flips over the other way, and then he goes and leads the team to a national championship.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the thing is, though, the coach working with this kid and his family, working with both of these families, because you got both of these families now in the middle of this. You know what I mean? What do we do?
No, they're able to see he's able to paint a bigger picture.
I did read an article about Tua where he said Tua said that his dad beat his ass when he had bad games and got bad grades. I mean, literally physically beat his ass.
Okay, go. We're not going to disclose the child abuse.
Oh no, he disclosed it. I'm not talking about family secrets. Christ, the guy told a reporter.
I think it's his culture. That's what
But my point is, you got two disciplined kids. You got a kid who had to listen to his dad because he's a football coach and had to listen to football coaches his whole life, and now has
both dads are actually coaches.
Both dads are coaches,
right? But the point is, they both grew up in disciplined environments, and I would think that's a very attractive thing as a college coach to know you're not bringing in a diva prima donna kid.
Coach's son.
You're bringing in someone who knows how things really work. You don't get everything you want, son. It's how it works.
But at the end of the day, though, Coach, I don't care how that's his kid, and it doesn't matter about you being a coach or not being a coach. They don't give a shit about coaching. That's his child. That's his blood, and he wants his blood to have what he wants. And that's just as a parent.
Well, then I would be willing to bet Jalen did some things to diffuse his dad's tension. Like, I would be willing to bet there were probably something along the lines of, look, Dad, you may be more pissed than me.
I got this.
I got this. Leave me alone. Let me grow up. Go coach your high school team. Let me handle this shit, okay? Because I can handle this.
I'm good.
Don't baby me. Don't baby me. Don't be Marv Marinovich, for Christ's sake.
It's just, Dad, I think it was just, Dad, I'm good.
Right.
At the end of the day, Dad, I'm good. You know what I mean?
And you got to give credit to the dad if he took that message, because a lot of guys would try to bully themselves into the situation and impose their will.
One of the things
I'm a University of Texas guy, and I'll never forgive Phil Simms for screwing over Major Applewhite.
Right.
But look at Major Applewhite today.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what it was. Phil Simms. That's why it was Chris Simms. When he was starting Chris Simms, which was all politics. I mean, what do you think that he said to Phil Simms to get Chris to decommit from Tennessee and come to Texas? That will give you a chance to compete? No, he told him you're going to come in and start.
He came here and destroyed our damn team.
Right.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, though, but Major Applewhite learned a lesson, and anyone who's smart enough to know the history and learn to repeat history.
And the University of Texas paid Major Applewhite a long time.
Well,
Yeah, they sure did. They sure did.
Paid him a long time. Great life. And when you get mature enough to buy into that lifestyle and get comfortable in your deal, you got a great life. You live in a city like Austin, where everything everything is good.
How bad could life be in Houston, Austin, or Dallas? I mean, get real.
Yeah,
Three great cities to live in.
Yeah, I mean, everything is really a good situation. But I mean, I thought that there's a lot to learn from that Alabama quarterback switch, other than just the on the field. The off the field is bigger than the on the field.
What I do like is the reflectivity, though, of the fact that we talked about the Jalen being replaced by Tua, but then just last week, Tua got replaced by Jalen, and Jalen came in and was a star. Yeah. And if you want to talk about a story of redemption, the phoenix that rises from the ashes, or whatever you want to say, that's pretty good. He sat back there for a year and waited his turn. And when success, what was Jimmy Johnson's comment? He said, say success is where preparation meets opportunity. Well, here's your opportunity. Go.
No doubt about that. That's the whole deal. Well, I got to throw this one in here. A lot of times we say, are we prisoners of the moment, or is FBI versus NCAA as big as it seemed to be? Now, there've been college basketball. I mean, there's been college sports scandals all the way back to the 40s and 50s.
I watch Chicago PD every week, right? And there's always a scandal.
Some folks that they need to take care of.
Oh, no doubt about it. Those three people aren't going to get today.
This is going to become the excuse for people to say, oh, man, I got to do this, or, oh, I've got to watch this. Oh, I've got to. Let me tell you something. If you're not cheating, you're not winning. It costs money to constantly take care of the best of the best. It's just what it is. You cannot have a guy that makes $5 million as a basketball coach and have a kid that you want him to get that's a top-ranked kid, and everybody's broke.
Well, hey, I got one for you. How about Nasir Little, the kid from, I think he's from either Georgia or Florida, and his name keeps popping up on all the tapes. He plays in North Carolina now, okay? And his name keep popping up on the tape. Everyone was offering him money. Now suddenly he goes to North Carolina, but Dadgum Roy wants us to believe he went there for the culture. Bullshit. You get paid in North Carolina like you get paid everywhere else.
That's Roy's job is to say that.
Oh, sure. No, I understand that he gets.
But Roy also understands that he makes $6 million, and all $6 million isn't his.
Right.
So he understands he has to spend some of that $6 million to get great players in order to win for programs who make millions and millions and millions.
Well, and the craziest part of this,
these athletes.
But you know what we learned? What we learned in this lawsuit was that he's not spending his money; he's spending the seed money from the shoe companies. I used to like to think that it was like the movie Blue Chips, that you had Happy the Booster, and he had you by the cojones. Because
to me, I just don't understand. The AAU coach, is become the most influential person in sports and in basketball. He's become the most influential. He controls what school a young man goes to, a young lady. He controls what gear they wear. He controls so much with this parent.
Mm-hmm. So and right now that scenario has evolved a lot. Now the parents are handling and treating the AAU coaches, summer coaches, kind of at an arm's length, if you will, on a whole lot of this stuff. So I mean,
well, the reason is because they all of a sudden have a little bit of education about what they think is going on, and somebody's allegedly making money.
Markel Fultz's situation is a good example.
Off of my child, or somebody is doing this, or somebody's doing this. So I need to know what this particular person is doing or not doing.
Where's my piece of the cake?
Where's my piece of the pie?
Right. Let me ask you this question right here. Now, before we get ready to go to break here, we can talk about this. We introduce it, and we'll come back and hit it. Now, the commission on college basketball comes in, headed up by Condoleezza Rice. What is that all? What's the thoughts there? Where do we go from there?
I mean, let's find Condoleezza a job.
Dog and pony show.
She's been trying to insert herself into a
I don't care if I talk to
sports.
my accountant. I don't care who I talk to. Everybody is conscious of the fact that Condoleezza Rice has been probing and looking and searching for her opportunity in sports administration.
And then she acts like she's not. That's what's annoying.
Yeah, that's the whole deal. That is absolutely crazy.
And she's sort of bullying her way into it.
Yeah, well, she's politicizing or paving the way with
she's
politics.
no more qualified to coach or be involved in sports than I am to be the freaking president.
Right. We're right here at the Lone Star Sports Show breaking down the 10 best of 2018. Winding on down to our announcement. We got controversial Cox, Commissioner Cox, the chief of the Oak Cliff, making it do what it does. Tom Inman, Lady Life. Honey the Prince, sitting there all cool, laid back, doing it like he's doing. He's starting to get a lot of confidence around here, boy. And yours truly, Alan Branch, taking it where it's supposed to be, driving this thing back at 180 seconds with more of the Lone Star Sports Show. Hey, we're back here at the Lone Star Sports Show. Got a lot to get through here in this last 10 or 15 minutes we got to work with, but it's skipping all around. But, yeah, Condoleezza Rice is the dog and pony show, the whole deal. You know, the NCAA jumping over with the situation. Now they bring the National Federation up. They're kind of standing behind that situation over there. It's complicated.
I'm going to be cynical here. Let's see. You bring in a minority, you bring in a woman, and you bring in a politically correct person who can keep everyone happy and tie all the points together. Sorry. I don't see her being qualified.
No, well, I
don't see it. I'm sorry. I'm not qualified to be the Secretary of State. She's not qualified to run the NCAA.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not trying
Does
to
she
run
even know what she's looking for? But I mean, like in this commission, does she know what she's looking for?
Right. No, she wasn't. That was the big problem that I had with it. I will go out on a limb and say this. Not on a limb. I'm going right out on the front porch and say, there's no way that when you look at the whole committee, they just weren't educated enough or understood what was going on. I think they're all smart, intelligent people.
Right, but it would take her years to be cynical enough to understand just how brutally, ridiculously corrupt it is.
Right.
Like she wants to think that things run like a lawyer runs things. This is street thugs. This is street thug shit when you start selling players. It is.
The problem with Condoleezza Rice is that it's a business. Mm-hmm. So she now has basically been told by the NFL and the NBA to get the hell out of here. Mm-hmm. Okay? She's basically been told, get the hell out of here.
She'll be the commissioner of Major League Baseball. That'd be a nice, easy job for her.
No. That's even worse.
Why?
Because they don't follow any rules. They got the best union of them all.
Oh, that's true.
You get the hell away from here. So now she's decided, okay, I've been told no by baseball, no by football, no by basketball. So you know what? There's so much going on with college sports. Let me squeeze my ass in here and get a check.
That's to my point about politics. She gets to basically say, I can put that fire out.
Yes, let me come in with my legal mind, and let me come in and let me try to provide some. No, keep your ass where you are. You haven't given a shit about sports or the sports environment. Now, you're just 64 years old.
Until she needs a job.
You're bored as hell.
You need a job.
You're bored as hell. You can't find a damn job. Now, all of a sudden, No, keep your ass out of sports. It's the worst thing could ever happen to sports. She needs to stay where she's at.
Well, she'll politicize the NCAA more than it's already politicized.
I don't know how that could possibly be done.
No. If you go like
no,
right now,
she will bring more drama to it than need be.
Hey, Cox,
this thing is getting ready to get crazy right now, man. With the thing that you got with the separation of, you can ready to tell the kids at Bishop Dunn, the kids at Bishop Lynch, that there is something available to prospects, prospective student athletes, in an environment that those kids can't go, and then the kid at Kimball and Skyline and Cedar Hill and Duncanville can go.
what are you talking about? I'm not following you.
Well, that's a new deal in June. Only UIL kids are going to be allowed to play in front of college coaches.
Oh, that's ridiculous. But see, that there's a politicization of it, or what the hell did he say it?
Yeah.
But here's the problem. So now go out and get a Catholic and put the Catholic on the UIL board, and now all of a sudden we're going to let the kids who are Catholic schools participate in the UIL, because that's exactly how that crap works. The Committee on Infractions, go look at where the people on the Committee on Infractions are from, and that'll tell you why their schools never go on probation.
Now when does that start?
That starts in June.
Yeah, last 2 weekends in June.
So that's going to bully a private school kid back to a public school. Is what they're trying to do.
That's what they're trying to do. But I mean, this is America. You can't do that.
All right,
man. That's absolutely nuts.
So now charters
So
and preps
who
and
came up
privates.
with that? UIL is just Texas? Or?
No.
UIL's just Texas. Yes.
UIL is just Texas. But this thing is so crazy. Do you realize roughly 60 to 70% of the top 100 kids in the country are being alienated from this process because of where they go to school?
Well, but what they're doing is
private schools.
What's gonna happen is that you're finna riddle yourself with lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is UIL's way of saying, hey, I'm mad at charter schools.
I'm mad at private schools.
I'm mad for being marginalized. I'm mad at being marginalized.
Because you guys do not want to come over and play ball with us. Y'all don't want to come over and follow rules. You just want to sit out there. And we're taking districts like Dallas, Fort Worth, who are losing a ton of kids and athletes that are going to the suburbs and other places. And with charter schools coming around, I mean, 20 years ago, Bishop Dunn wasn't winning anything. Nobody cared about Bishop Dunn. We didn't care. Nobody wanted to go look at their kids anyway.
Right.
But all of a sudden now, everybody wants to go look at those kids because they're winning. Yeah. And they're good athletes, Trinity Christian and some of the others.
Yeah, Trinity Christian, another one.
UIL is pushing this, and, but at the end of the day, I just don't know how you can legally.
How
you can legally. You can't tell a college coach where to go look at kids, can you?
No, well, they're alienating. They can still go look at those kids, but the NCAA and National Federation are hosting 2 weeks of evaluation where all of those kids are eliminated from.
No, I'm going to tell you what will happen. You want to hear exactly what's going to happen? They're going to try to tell you that the private school kids are out, and then it's going to destroy all of the events here in Texas, and those college coaches will just go to the states where the rednecks aren't trying to force the hand.
Yeah.
They'll just go to Louisiana, they'll go to Oklahoma, they'll go to California.
You got things like this going on all over the country, but you got the number one Division I prospect producing state in the country.
Well, that's why Charlie Breithaupt is being arrogant, because he thinks I could just flex my muscle and I'll force you guys to come back on the plantation.
Let me ask this question. This is a real generalized question here. Is there a possibility that I'll just throw this out there, Cox. You're real neutral, Cox. Let's say, you got good solid attorney on retainer. You're worth, I don't know, $50 million where you can invest the time, you have time to deal with it. And your son is a marginal Division I player. He's got a chance to get a scholarship, and you really, just invest a lot and like to see him play college basketball. He really wants to play college basketball. And you get this news. What do you do?
Well, unfortunately, basketball and baseball are going to be okay with the rule because they have select sports year-round that create an environment for those coaches to see.
Football is the problem. The kid that leaves DeSoto to go to IMG is going to get hosed.
Football is going to be the sport.
And this has nothing to do with football. This is only
football is going to be the sport that
football's always got something to do with football. Everything's got something to do with football.
Football has got to be the sport that's creating something of this magnitude because AAU basketball and select baseball is year-round like volleyball.
Hey, hold on. I'll
soccer. So those aren't the sports that are affecting.
Hey, I'll tell you.
This is a football-driven.
Okay.
Deal.
Hey, Cox, I made a prediction a while back.
What I will say to you is this: money is going to be the driving force. There's going to be some kid at Trinity or South Lake Carroll or one of these districts, Allen, and you're going to get some folks together, and it's going to be one of the biggest legal battles that the UIL is ever.
Hey, but Cox, I'll tell you exactly why it's becoming an issue right now. Because I said something about 10 years ago when 7-on-7 football started up. And then all of a sudden you had kids who were getting position coaches and trainers. And then all of a sudden kids were doing their announcement shows behind their high school coach's back. And there was like a loosening of the rigidity of the football
At
staff.
first, I thought you were totally wrong, but you do have a point. Go
No,
ahead.
7-on-7 football is football's version of AAU basketball.
I agree
now,
with that.
The cat's out of the bag. And if you think it's valuable to try to pick
and
a basketball
because it's
player,
not as big as it should be.
Right.
But
because
what
707
I'm
is not
talking
as
about,
big as
this
it
is
should be.
the stuff I'm talking about is the recommendation of the commission on college basketball, headed by Condoleezza Rice. They limited the number of live periods for the AAU. They took 2 of those away, gave those to USA basketball. Then they came back and added 2 more. So we want to put the power in the high school. And then while we putting the power in the high school, we're only going to allow the in the state of Texas UIL.
See, when you get somebody like Condoleezza Rice in that position that's clueless.
She's trying to be rational in an irrational business.
Well, because she doesn't know anything about the business.
Right.
All she's thinking about is that she's thinking about every public school kid.
Mm-hmm.
So she's thinking, hey, I'm making a decision where it's more fair for public school kids to see it. She doesn't even understand. Public school isn't public school.
Public school isn't public school anymore. No.
Public school isn't public school. So
No.
when you're the best of the best, even if you go to public school, your life is different.
Yep. No, it's a total different animal. Finley Prep is totally, Mount Verde, Oak Hill, all these schools are totally eliminated from this process.
Totally different. But I mean, they're going to try to wrap. But
you know what they'll do though? Here's a way to get around it. All the kid's going to do is falsely list himself as his public school.
No. They're
going to fix that. Coach, one thing's going to happen.
You can't do that. He's had enough experience with the NCAA. You know,
the NCAA is Barney freaking Fife. They got one bullet in their pocket. Don't even know how to put it in their pocket.
He does the NCAA enforcement, EACG or whatever it's called, BBCS reviews.
They would need somebody. They need documents.
Branch at the end of the day.
But the lawsuit's going to kill him because they're not going to.
So why do you think the kid that played at your school where you retired from? I had to catch up with that coach to get that kid was getting ready to get suspended from all NCAA deal, and we were going to get a slap on the wrist.
Coach, because most people don't know the rules. Most people don't know the rules, Branch. Most people don't know the rules. They don't know how
I can't call his name, but the kid that would be. I can't even know his name. I can't remember his name. Coach probably knows his name.
But
the kid that was at Grand Prairie High School.
We called you about it.
I
called you about it. You gave me the telephone number. The kid legally lives with the coach.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, my fault.
That's how intense it is.
Yeah.
Ask him what kind of documents we had to give to turn into the NCAA.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
That slipped my mind. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, the deal is that we're going to take the term is we're going to take it out of the third party's hands.
Okay, but hold on a second. But when they had prohibition in Chicago, everyone said if we just get rid of alcohol, everything will fix itself up. No, all you did is created a black market for Al Capone to get rich. Someone will find a way to manipulate this. There's no way I'll ever believe in a million years that they're going to clean up college basketball. Never ever. And if you really want to
I will tell you this though. One of the things that I do know they're trying to do, that they feel like there's I'm gonna tell you, college basketball coaches have way more to do with this than we give credit for. The college basketball coaches have more animosity towards the AAU program than you can imagine.
Well,
AAU coaches,
the upper tier resent what they have to deal with.
The AAU coaches, the college basketball coaches resent the fact that they have to deal with AAU coaches who hold them accountable.
Yeah, they feel a little bit insulted.
But would they do the same thing if they had to be held accountable by high school coaches?
But they only feel insulted because they are there. And they need those guys in order to make a living. Most of them were AAU coaches at some point or high school coaches. But now that they have made it to the mountaintop, they have forgotten all about that.
Right. Well, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of a line in the sand where guys fight across. That's where relationships are the only thing they have the ability to cross back and forth across those lines. But you're going to see a lot of things going on with this stuff. We come back. We got a few more things to hit. We're going to go out there. I don't think it takes about 30 seconds to hit this one right here. J.R. Smith versus J.R. Smith. How good of a job did he do in 2018 in June?
You know what I think of? I think of like a person as
He
a
is
million,
what he is, Coach.
I think of the average person to have 1 million brain cells, and then I think of J.R. Smith having one, and it bounces off both sides of his head like a ping pong ball. That dude's an idiot. A straight running idiot.
He just got caught on one. He's not a bad kid.
I didn't say he's a bad kid. I said he's an idiot. There's a big difference. I'm an idiot. I'm not a bad kid either.
Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Trying to close out 2018. It's been good to us. God keep on blessing. We'll be back in 180 seconds with more of the Lone Star Sports Show. All things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. We got Controversial Cox, Commissioner of Oak Cliff, Tom Inman, the Champ, Honey the Prince, Lady Life, and Alan Branch. Giving it to you where it's supposed to be. All things sports, all things Texas. Back here on the Lone Star Sports Show, letting it do what it does. Got the mic out in front of me. We had a lot going on there, breaking this whole thing down. But, you know, it is interesting. So it's a big business. You know, let me throw some number. You know, college basketball, it's a $1 trillion business. Youth sports tourism is an $8 billion a year business, where basketball represents about $3.3 billion of that going on. So when you get all this money moving, and there's going to always be a lot of different angles. Say, put it back in the college, in the high school coach's hands. High school coaches are human beings too. They have angles and situations. It was so wrong for it to be what they call third party, summer guys, handlers, all these different terms, runners, street agents. But as long as guys are making $100 and $200 million in the NBA, there's going to be some type. You can't control that.
You can't legislate morality.
Yeah, I mean, you can't legislate morality. You can't control.
The college coaches created the AAU environment. Now the AAU environment is bigger than college.
No, it swallowed them up. Exactly. Now they're all pissed off because
so the guys got tired of walking into high school gyms, and this high school coach was controlling their destinies.
Yeah, right.
So they created the AAU coach scenario and started telling them you can't coach them in the summer.
It was cost-effective prostitution.
You know,
cost-effective.
So you stopped the high school guy from being able to do all that stuff, and so the AAU coach came in. Mm-hmm. Now you got the AAU coach who said, "Hey, hold on, I'm sending you somebody to make you that's paying your $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
The shoe contract guys start coming in. You start filtering. I mean, at the end of the day,
just a lot of money moving a lot of different directions.
A lot of money moving. But if I'm a Division I coach in a good program, I'm hiring me about 2 or 3 real scouts, telling them what I'm looking for, and I'm having that person brief my staff on who to go see. And I'm eliminating these 5,000 scouting services because anybody can be a recruiting service. AB, you got 20-some years of doing it, but anybody's picking up a damn podcast right now and telling you who's ranked.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and these dumbass Division coaches are giving scholarships out based on these rankings.
No, I mean, it's a whole lot going on, and there's ways to do this, do that. I mean, people, I don't know, man. It's the legitimacy and so much muddy water and so much confusion, so much smoke and mirrors. Players aren't being developed. You got more talent, more raw talent than you've ever had, but you got less legitimate player development than you've ever had. It's a
I can't stand how sanctimonious it is because everyone talks about education. This hasn't got diddly shit to do with education. It's got every single thing to do with money. Because if you really want it to be about education, tell the coach that he can only make no more than $300,000 a year. We'll see who wants to put up with all that crap for $300,000.
No, it changed the game to him. Well, then they turn back around. There's too much money being made in TV and all that stuff, so they want their cut of it. Well, everybody. That's the thing about a capitalistic society. You can't cap what people can make.
Well, that's why the UIL is never going to succeed on this issue because they're going to get sued into oblivion, and as soon as you threaten to sue them, they're going to back off because their lawyer's going to say you can't win. So give,
right?
Just give.
But I said earlier, congratulations to what's going on with Texas Tech and the University of Houston. Two hell of a basketball coaches, Chris Beard and Coach Sampson has actually been on the show. Beard has not been on the show. But both are clients of mine, stand-up, hard-working guys that really hold guys to the line in the process. But it's a very interesting angle of how things line up and do what they do there. Excited about. I think Commissioner Cox may have lost him on a dead phone. He may call back if he gets.
I just want to wish good luck to Beard because Chris actually recruited John Robertson, my point guard, that's playing over in Russia now. When he was an assistant for Coach Knight, so I've always been a Beard fan. I love how I always feel like I'm going to say it again. He's a Buzz Williams 2.0.
Yep,
he's the same guy.
He's a tough guy, tough, hard-nosed, hard-working guy. Buzz is kind of a little bit more anal. Than Chris.
He's OCD or it's not anal.
Right.
That's how describe it, right?
But they both are hard coaches that work at it real hard.
And the Warriors repeat. I think the biggest X factor. Are they the best team? Probably. But I think the biggest X factor is how does Boogie work himself in, or how do they work Boogie in? Because he doesn't fit very well with their style of play. And what I'm wondering I want to know is whether he's willing to do the little things. Because what he needs to show the league, number one, is my Achilles is healed, and number two, I'm not a complete asshole.
I think
that's what he's got to show.
I think he's going to try to show the little things because he's looking to get another contract.
I think so, too. He's looking for the big contract.
Right.
Now, I won't believe it. Like, if I was the next guy getting ready to sign him, I still think it's all bullshit. I think he's just faking.
Right.
He's only playing for the veterans minimum because he's got a chance to get a ring. He wouldn't play for $5.4 million in Detroit or Orlando. So let's not act like he's playing for the love of the game. He's playing for the next contract. Right. So and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not bad-mouthing him for that.
Right. In the next year, you're going to see same old Boogie.
No, Boogie's
he's an all-star.
He's a coach killer. But then again, you could make the argument George Karl should have shut up coming in and putting him on blast like that the first day in Sacramento. That wasn't the smartest thing George ever did. Hey, listen, I want to say this with a little sensitivity to all the wildfires in California. I made a note when we talked about LeBron in L.A., and I wanted to give him the Fireman of the Year award because obviously that's tongue-in-cheek because there's a million real firemen who deserve this. But the Fireman of the Year award goes to LeBron for putting out the fire called that absolute – how do you describe the verbal vomit that just comes out of LeVar Ball's mouth? And I've just been so refreshing to hear absolutely not a freaking thing out of that asshole. Whatever they did in L.A. to make him shut up, I want to contribute.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a situation where he was about to destroy.
We're going to ship your kid to Orlando. See how that better big baller brand works down in Orlando or Sacramento, dude.
Yeah,
keep it up.
No, it's actually somewhere between sad and nuts. What you got out of that situation?
Oh, his dad's batshit crazy. Batshit crazy.
I think he's seen that long time.
He made a fool of himself because now you look back at all those things he said. He just made a fool of himself.
I'm going to go on a record. I lost respect for that situation. It's always when it hits kind of a close situation where you know exactly what went on. A kid that really, really needed a college scholarship is not going to be a pro that backed out of a college scholarship
To go play in that bullshit JBL league.
Right. Yeah. To go and do that.
And that night, I said from day one, first of all, the checks will stop coming about halfway through the season. Then all of a sudden, they'll start taking worse buses. Then all of a sudden, the meal money never comes through. Then the coaching changes happen.
I mean,
we know a local guy right now is an assistant coach, and that makes it a joke because the day that this dude's coaching professional basketball, I'm out of basketball. Yeah. I think we know who we're talking about.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just really, really sad. So I mean, does the LeBron going to L.A.? That was one good positive thing came out of it. It cleaned all of that up.
Yeah.
Or distracted. It deflected away from it anyway. Yeah, we didn't hear anything else about it after that. Everything took off and went to a whole another deal.
If there's some Lonzo trade rumors going on, then they'll pick back up.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I was listening to someone talking about they weren't bashing on Lonzo. What they were saying was Jalen and Jacoby, and they were saying, listen, I love what Lonzo does, except he's really their only marketable trade asset because you can't trade LeBron. You can't trade any of those guys who are on a one-year contract, right? There's a whole bunch of 1 years right now. Mm-hmm. So the only way that you can really upgrade, and it was Jalen talking about, he said, you've got to parlay one asset into multiple assets. And I'm not saying that Lonzo's not a good player, but maybe if you can get two good players for one good player, maybe you make a move. It'll be interesting because everyone knows LeBron's the GM. And LeBron's going to go home at Christmas and unwrap the president called, I made a decision.
They're doing for the free agency is the way they're kind of going about.
Because Rob Pelinka's not the GM out in L.A. Don't even kid yourself, Rob. No. You're just sitting there waiting for LeBron to tell you that he wants J.R. Smith to be his teammate. Sorry.
No, I don't think that's going to happen either.
Well, I hope they're not smoking enough crack out there to make that decision because he already made that one time in Cleveland. I think I'll pass on JR coming back to fix things.
Well, huge. Also kind of got left off the list. Shout out to Boston Red Sox, even though they did get our guys down here in Houston and Houston Astros in the whole deal.
They're kind of the new evil empire. I'm starting not to dig them.
Yeah,
I used to like them when they were tortured and they lost and they had a bunch of whiny, drunk Irish people. And now all of a sudden they're winning, and I think they're the evil empire. So,
well, man, I tell you what, I really, 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 really have enjoyed the last 2 years around the first show. We've done roughly about 140 shows, 150 shows now. What does it say over here? Oh, no, it's about 136, 137, something like that. Shows during the course of almost exactly 2 year window of time. And I've learned a lot, enjoyed a lot. Been great having you here. Ani came on in that period and was part of the deal. Lady Life and I are only two founding members still sitting here faithfully doing the deal. And we're going to 2019. The Lonestar Sports Show is going to be taking a sabbatical. I'm not going to say that we are killing the Lonestar Sports Show, but some things have been offered to me, opportunity-wise, in basketball that I've got to deal with. That you can't. There's only so many hours in a day, so much bandwidth, and the flexibility. Gonna miss it. And the funniest thing about doing the show is, this is what we do all the time anyway.
We barbershop when there's no mic.
Yeah, we talk on the phone. We talk in the car. We have a Cowboy text line, which Cox is the commissioner of that too, with about 6 or 7 guys. We meet. So it's definitely when you start talking about passion, and we really some of the things we're going to be doing is fast small sports, and they were part of the influence in saying could you take a break and step away and do some things to shore some things up. You can do so many phone calls and so many emails and so many conference calls, and then they want you to walk in and shake hands and be there in person in the office.
I'd like to offer myself as a sacrificial lamb to be the person who's going to be blamed for the demise of the show. Since I'm the newest guy, I'm the white guy, and I'm the one who gets all the shit from everyone.
I didn't want to say that.
No, I'm just going
to kill the show.
See, hold on. This is disarm the enemy strategy I learned from my uncle. You take the bullet, and you shoot yourself in the foot, and then he can't shoot you in the foot because you already shot yourself. Exactly. You can't say shit to me. I haven't said to myself.
Tom, I was about to blame you.
I knew you were, and that's why I took it right out of your hands, big boy.
Only problem is we only have 24 hours in a day. If y'all want to restructure the time and the calendar and how we do everything, give me a little more time, a few more hours in a day, and we can keep it all going. You might have to give me some vitamins and stuff. That's the one thing I always say, that the faster we go, the harder we go. We're still dealing with the same body. But I would forecast that somewhere between the spring and early summer, we could be back, right back here. We're going to see enough time to organize things and see which way things want to go. I've got to meeting with one of the guys that got me involved in this. We're going to be doing a coaching clinic, Chris Walker, and he has some thoughts. He definitely does not want me to quit.
Hey, could you spell that word sabbatical so I can tell people what I'm doing right now? Because that's a really big word for a guy like me. S-A-B. I'm not going to get fired. I took a freaking sabbatical, man.
There you go. Yeah, tell him you took a sabbatical. Get your iPhone and pull it out there. Sound it out. Get your Fernandez going. Sabbatical.
Sub, S-U-B, bat, B-A-T. I'm the educated one.
But it's been great, Lady Life. You think about where we had a chance to grow graphically. When we first started out right there on Facebook, spanned over to about 3 different platforms, going from, we've had shows where we had 30 or 40,000 listeners. We had shows where we had 0 listeners. And to be able to boost it up and get into the 1,100 to 1,300 average over the last few days, been solid. Been bringing Commissioner Cox in on the football side. Just kind of fell out of the sky. Never thought he would even do it, Loves to talk about it, but I didn't think he'd actually come on and formally do it. So we'll be there. But last thing I'll say before we get ready to go, if you want to know what's going on in the world of sports, mainly in basketball, at TX Boys Basketball with 1 L, at Ani. Give yours on there. I mess it up.
Ani_Umana.
I knew it was an underscore now. I get his email deal is like _Umana, and then we have the 5-state hoop report,
which 5_report.
At 5_report. These are all things where y'all have always followed. You looking at Texas grassroots basketball is there, and you'll see some things going on with ePlay, things going on there, and you'll be able to follow them on social media. So it won't be hard to figure out to be able to get a lot of the same content that you've been getting in some form of fashion via social media.
Man, this is sad. This is like the last episode of Cheers. I'm kind of bummed, man. I'm going to go have a beer. I'm going to go have a beer and think of the coach.
We're going to go and have one right before we step off the site here. But God bless, man. We thank y'all for all the things that y'all have me to do. Believe it or not, I am stepping away to provide a bigger avenue for kids to have opportunity. All 3 entities that I'll be involved with are creating a better opportunity for kids. From the league situation, analytics, and what's going on with technology in the business. So, I mean, it all makes sense. So we're doing it, and even some of the things, Ani's going to be taking a bigger role, and Ani's stepping up as a high level equity partner and some things that are going on. So, going to be a lot of things put on his plate. He's got to do because I'm not going to be around. He got to make decisions. I might not answer his text message fast enough. He got to figure it out.
Give him enough equity, he can do it himself, right? Hey, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
No doubt on that.
Yeah,
hey, God bless y'all. Take care. Be safe in all the holiday travels. Remember, bad things happen when we don't take our time, when we rush, and we lose track in bad conditions.
Slow down driving.
Yeah,
Slow down driving.
Think
bad
about
time
it,
of year.
Chill out.
Yep.
Hey, y'all be careful. Take care. We out.